On your marks, get set, and let's go. The next 15 minutes, we're going to go through Olympic Stat Zone. I'm Mihir Mankad, and in the next few minutes, if you haven't had the time to catch up on all the detail on the Festival of Sport, here it is for you. We're going to start with the biggest news from Indian athletes, and what could be bigger than an Indian Olympic hockey game. Indians have won the gold medal 8 times in the past in hockey, and we start off first with the result against the Spanish Armada. The Indian hockey team was 1-1 in their group play. They had won a tough match against New Zealand and then lost badly to Australia today. The Indian men in blue were doing quite well, and they had come from, not from behind, but from the front throughout. Throughout, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. The Indians are now 2-1, almost sure of qualifying. The question is, where will they place on the table? And then if they do well in the next few rounds, they could be seeded to play a better opponent. So from hockey, let's go on to the sport of boxing. And let's see what the boxing results are. So here we have Lovlina Borgohain. Now this is an athlete that one more win and India is assured of a medal. So now Lovlina Borgohain is going to play in the quarterfinals now because she defeated Nadine Apetz of Germany 3-2. Now this was close. Remember, 5 judges vote in boxing. In this time, though, 3-2 win means one more round for a medal. We also had some more boxing results today, and actually we will move on from boxing to badminton. So let's talk a little bit about badminton. And in badminton, we had a doubles pair fighting it out for their nation. Mr. Ranki Reddy settling in with Chirag Shetty and winning their match 21-17, 21-19. But here's a bit of bad news. There's a bit of bad news here in that the Indian pair do not make it outside the group stage. And they did not make it outside the group stage because their Chinese pair had a ridiculous and a comeback win in their match. As a result, they are not able to get to the next round, but 2 out of 3 wins. This pair, that is an unlikely pair to start with, right, have made sure that the Indian badminton flag is held high. They won't progress, but 2 victories we will take. From badminton, let's talk about another sport, and that is table tennis. The sport of table tennis and Achanta Sharat Kamal. Now, in this case, Mr. Sharat Kamal is going against Ma Long. Ma Long, one of the greatest table tennis players of all time. In fact, he said that he will consider it a bad result if he loses a game. If he loses a game, he considers it a bad result. This time he did lose to Achanta Sharat Kamal. Mr. Sharat Kamal, though 39 years of age, stood strong for India and leveled the score at 1 game all. At 9-8, he was up in the 3rd game, but unfortunately, this was the score line: 11-7, 8-11, 13-11, 11-4, 11-4. Mr. Sharat Kamal, thank you for your service to Indian sports, and you can walk out with your head held high. Taking a game from Ma Long is no joke. And let's talk about our next sport, and that is the sport of table tennis. Okay, and table tennis is done, and then we're going to talk about the sport of shooting. Manu Bhaker and Saurabh Chaudhary. Now, Saurabh Chaudhary, one of the most heralded shooters, not having a great day when it came to the sport so far in the individual competition today. A lot more was expected from him along with Manu Bhaker. They did well in the qualifying group stage. In fact, they finished first with a total of 286 and 296. But take a look at that number then, 97, 94 and 95 for Manu. Let's move on to the next plate and see what happened in the round that mattered the most. 92 for Manu and 94 in that second round. 186 to 194, not enough. Disappointingly, this pair finished in 7th place in the round that mattered the most do not qualify for the medal round. Okay, so let's move on from shooting into sailing. And the sport of sailing, we are going to discuss what happened here. Now, no basic medal contention here, but Saravanan now having 3 rounds that he's been through, and he will continue to round 7 now with a score of 23, 22 and 12 in rounds 4, 5 and 6. Again, out of medal contention, but a strong prospect in the sport of sailing for Mr. Saravanan. We continue now with some results coming in additionally. So let's play them out for you. I think there were more events today featuring international athletes that caused a splash. So in tennis, in the women's singles here, we saw that Naomi Osaka was the highest seed left here. Remember, Ash Barty, Wimbledon champion, world number 1, had lost early, in fact, to an unknown Spanish player. In this case, Marketa Vondrousova, not as unknown in this case, but coming out blazing, defeating one of the strongest tennis players in the world, 6-1, 6-4, top seed out, second seed out. Naomi Osaka was actually lighting the torch for the Olympics. Unfortunately, will not be on the medal stand. We continue in international sports, and let's talk about a first ever record, something that happened for the first time. Paulina Gurjeva had a score of 96 and 121. What does that score mean? That is the weight that she lifted. So she lifted 217 kgs in the 59 kg category in women's weightlifting. And this means that Turkmenistan wins its first ever Olympic medal. Congratulations to this nation. Yesterday, a nation of 62,000 also has a gold medal, and that is Bermuda. So that is Turkmenistan. And then let's move on to another sport, and that is the sport of surfing. And there was a gold medal here to be had. Remember, surfing, a brand new sport at this Olympics. There's a few brand new sports. 3-on-3 basketball is another one. Skateboarding is another one. In this case, we had surfing. So Carissa Moore is a US athlete who had scores of 7.6 and 7.33 to win the first ever surfing gold medal. So that's an international roundup for you. Now, in some more news internationally, however, which we have just got, you had a team that was upset, and that team was the Russian Olympic Committee. And we're going to come back to this, but we talk about tomorrow's action here in badminton. PV Sindhu is going to be featured for India. She's going to take on Hong Kong's Chung, and this is in the group play. In fact, it's in the second match that she will have. Remember, she won the first one. PV Sindhu stands as one of the best medal prospects for the Indian nation. Let's see how she does against Chung, highly favored. She's got a silver medal in the past, perhaps more to come. We continue with more action coming up for the Indian archers. And here, let us talk about 3 important matchups here. Actually, no, before archery, we do have badminton. And in badminton, Bisai Praneeth had lost his first match. But in group play stage right now, he will be taking on Kaljau of Netherlands. And Sai Praneeth, in this case, will need all his experience to come up with a win here, which he badly needs. Also in badminton, we have another matchup tomorrow. And that matchup coming up is Deepika Kumari taking on a Bhutanese opponent, Karma. So Deepika Kumari, number 1 in the world, ranked in badminton. Of course, she did well. She won a gold medal at the World Championship. But at the World Championship, the Korean archers weren't there. Luck hasn't worked out in the mixed competition for Deepika. Let's see what she does right now in the individual competition. Also coming up in archery tomorrow itself, we have another sharpshooter featured, and that sharpshooter is Praveen Jadhav. Remember, he had partnered up with Deepika, not the results they wanted against the Korean, but in this case, he will play Galstan Bazarzapov from the Russian Olympic Committee. Again, we say Russian Olympic Committee because Russia does not have an official entry into the Olympics because of, well, the scandals that they were involved with. So in this case, the athletes are competing independently under the brand of ROC. And that committee is not doing that badly in the medal standings, which we'll come to. We continue now with some more featured sports tomorrow, and that also, before that, we have Tarundeep Rai also in archery taking on Alexei Hunbin. Alexei is from Ukraine. Tarundeep Rai, watch out for this sharp two-shooter. Not a lot said about him in the past, but again, he can stand with the world's best. We continue with another sport of combat, and without weapons, just using our hands. We do have boxing coming up, in this case Pooja Rani in the round of 16. 69 to 75 kg category for Pooja Rani. She takes on Ishraq Chaib tomorrow. There have been 9 pugilists from India in the fray. More than half of them haven't had the results that they would have wanted in this case. Pooja Rani needs all the cheer as she goes for her bout in the round of 16. Remember, in boxing, if you get to the semifinals, you will get a bronze medal. So 2 more rounds, hopefully, of wins for Pooja Rani. We move on to the sport of hockey. And in this case, we have some action for the Indian Eves, ranked number 11 in the world right now. They've been hovering around the top 10 in the world. They take on an opponent 5 places higher. This is a Pool A match. In this case, the Indian Eves, with a strong skipper who was the World Young Player of the Year, have had 2 heartbreaking losses. And in this case, the loss to the Netherlands, not that much to be concerned about. Perhaps the world number 1 team, the loss against Germany, a more difficult one against Great Britain, a chance for the hockey team that is only back for the last 2 Olympics to assert a little bit of supremacy and a bit of confidence going ahead. So that's what's coming up in hockey. And if we continue with more Indian action tomorrow, what you need to watch out for is also rowing. Now, Arjun Lal Jatt and Arvind Singh are going to be competing in the lightweight men's double scull semifinals, but are out of medal contention at this point. Yet, they have qualified to go into the next day's stage. And if we continue with more in sailing, also we have some Indian action coming up tomorrow. And Varun Thakkar is going to represent India in the 49er race number 4, along with Ganpati Kelapanda. So this is something to watch out for and cheer our men who will be in the water. So that's a lot of sports still coming up for the Indian athletes, a lot of sports on the international stage. But what we do want to show you is something that has not happened before. And let's take a look at that medals tally. Guess which nation is at the very top? This has not happened before. Japan. 1 more gold medal over the United States. Today in the softball women final, a sport that was competed for the first time in, well, at least a couple of Olympics, it was revived. Heavily favored United States were defeated by Japan, and that's what makes the difference. A gold medal not only for Japan, but taking it away from their next competitor. Japan are 7 medals behind the United States. However, they have more golds, and that is the color that matters. Remember, over the last couple of days, 2 skateboarders added 2 gold medals for the Japanese, and one of them was the 2nd youngest ever medalist in the Olympics, 13-year-old. Okay, so that's the action. I think there's going to be a hot competition between the United States, China, and the Russian Olympic Committee. India hovering in the 30s. A couple of medals could make the difference. So much is going on, and I hope that you continue to watch. COVID-19 has been overshadowed by the games, and that's how it should be. We'll be here for you each night to bring you all the action in a nutshell, and hopefully a concise and precise manner. I'm Mihir Mankad signing off for now, but asking you to not sign off from enjoying the Olympics. Good night.